Oh, happy day. Happy day it is. Hello, YouTubers and party people alike. Corey Small coming to you from Crying Cheese / Caliber Explosion. I still have yet to figure out what name I'm going to call this channel. Anyway, today, as you can see, I'm over the moon about some certain news. Let me just put this guy back. There's my Pops collection. And he's going to fit right back there. Oh. Okay. Anyway, so over the last month, anyone who has a mother or a brother, sister or cousin who knows anything or hasn't been living under a rock knows that there's so many different deals that went on. That Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Man, who's appeared in the MCU, was out of the MCU per Disney, Marvel, and Sony agreement on the property and the character. So the original deal, I'm going to try and break this down the best that I can. The original deal before Far From Home came out, which is what these pops are from, was that if Spider-Man could make $1 billion at the box office, that Sony and Marvel would now be in a new deal going forward about sharing the property of the character. We all knew that was going to happen, and sure enough, Far From Home made $1 billion. Go figure. But then it wasn't shortly after that all of a sudden Sony decided to pull the rights of Spider-Man out from underneath Marvel based on a new deal. And that deal was reported that beforehand, when they made the sharing of the character, that Disney was only allowed 5% of the money made from the franchise and merchandise, so on and so forth. And the rest was all Sony. Then Disney, again, reportedly, was like, you know what? We made $1 billion, well, more than $1 billion with Avengers Endgame, which had Spider-Man in it. Now we want to do 50-50 because you know what? We're doing great with the character. And before then, when it was all in Sony's possession, the only thing that really did great, besides, Into the Spider-Verse, which was the Spider-Man animated movie, which won several awards, and it was a great Spider-Man movie. Before that was mainly the Sam Raimi trilogy. Give or take Spider-Man 3. Some may like it, a lot of people don't. But that's where they cut that off and then did the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 with Andrew Garfield. And the second one, which was supposed to set up Sony's shared universe with Spider-Man characters, failed to impress anybody. So that's when that whole deal with Disney and Sony came along and say, hey, let's share it, so on and so forth. And Disney made the character likable again with my boy Tom Holland, who would have known that to most people, a nobody, created one of the most beloved live-action Peter Parker and Spider-Man interpretations. But today, after a month and a half, I'm just going to put out the line, a month and a half, another deal struck up. After it seemed like all hope was lost, Spider-Man was out of the MCU, but they were still going to use Tom Holland in their Venomverse and with Morbius, stuff of that nature. Today, this is September 27th, this happened late last night, apparently, the 26th, 2019. The new deal was now Disney gets 25% of all profits and is allowed one more Spider-Man solo movie to wrap up the Tom Holland trilogy, and he is allowed to appear as a secondary character, how he mainly was introduced. He came in Civil War, and then he had his first solo movie, then he was in Avengers Infinity War, in Endgame, then Far From Home. But now he's back. All of this was for nothing. And for a fan, when I started liking superhero movies, it was because of the Sam Raimi trilogy. And that kind of launched my like for the character outside of the comics. The comics are great, but there's always that thing inside of us that would like, "Wow, we really want to see this in live action. Like these storylines are so amazing and creative. We want to see that on the big screen." And Sam Raimi's trilogy brought that to life for us. And then it kind of fizzled out really quick, especially with Spider-Man 3, Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. It just kind of seemed like they couldn't get a grasp on the character anymore for whatever reason. And then Disney's like, step aside. Step aside. Let me lay this $1 million bill. Just, slide it over to you. And then we're going to make a deal. So he's back in one way, shape or form or another. I'm lost for words because I'm super excited. I was so bummed out that, especially at the end of Far From Home, that cliffhanger with Mysterio, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody because it's something worth watching, especially if you've been on the Marvel ride since 2008. The end of Spider-Man Far From Home cracked open our heads to something that was going to come later, which is exactly what Marvel and Disney do. They make sure they give us a little taste so we can come back later for something even better, with a little taste of something new for something later that's even better. So at the end of Far From Home, I'm so happy he's still alive in the MCU. And I'm excited to see how they wrap up that trilogy and see where he goes from there. Apparently they've been talking. This is, again, this third Spider-Man movie that's coming out won't premiere until July 16th of 2021. So we still got close to 2 years. But that's plenty of time to make sure it's done well and to wrap it up, especially considering Tom Holland's relationship with Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man. Endgame. You have to see how that ends. Like, they started touching base on the kind of, I'm going to say, PTSD of losing Tony Stark. Spoilers. If you haven't seen Endgame, you're a psycho because that movie's everywhere. And if you haven't seen it, shame on you. It's happening. And now I say this. And I hope to God that there is not another deal somewhere within this 2 years, because look what all happened in just a month's time. This happened, and then this happened, and they were going to go this way, and now Spider-Man's out, but he really isn't, and now he's 25% in. I hope they don't change it now. I hope everyone is satisfied with the deal, and they move forward like the good little kids that they are, because we're the ones paying your bills. Sorta. Vice versa. You can't make the money without us happy. That's always what I thought. So why would they even split in the first place? Whoever decided not to go with this deal it has no idea the value of $1. Like, maybe, yeah, you have some love for the character and you want to see it done right and given good justice. But let's be honest, it's been doing just fine. You finally got an actor who we absolutely enjoy in the role, and in a story that we don't have to see Spider-Man full frontal. We've seen the Spider-Man storyline already twice, and the same thing. Uncle Ben dies. Spider-Man becomes Spider-Man. They didn't need to do that in the MCU, because they're smart. They know we're not stupid. We love our character. And quite honestly, if they said we're not doing another solo movie, I'd be all right with that. Because, especially with Spider-Man and Tony Stark, that was two separate kind of arcs for two different characters. It showed Tony Stark how to be a father of sorts before he actually was a real father, and vice versa to Peter Parker. We obviously know Ben Parker is not in the picture in the MCU, so we gave him Tony Stark as a mentor and a father figure. And then they wanted to rip that out from underneath us. And it bummed me out. It really bummed me out. But it looks like we're all on the right path. Here's hoping. Here's hoping that it stays this way. Let me know what you guys think of this new deal. Do you think it's gonna stay? Or do you think it's all gonna fizzle out and this is just some smoke and mirrors mirage to keep us all silent for a little bit? From Crying Cheese / Caliber Explosion, again, up in the air. I might just have to create a new name. This is Corey Small, signing out. Like and subscribe, comment below, share with your friends and pets and your fish. And until next time, okay, bye.